It is a difficult session to do after what we just experienced with Papa, CJ and Sukleen, but I'll try and do my best. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're having a good time and you had a good lunch. Yes? Okay, good. So I am here to talk about intelligent effectiveness. What I'm going to talk about is relatively very boring to what you just experienced, but it's very critical of the optimization that we think AI can bring to our world. What we are talking about is measuring the ROI. What I'm going to share with you is very basic of what AI can do. We are all marketeers, we all understand what marketing is, and we've all gone to school. What I'm going to share with you is really what the objective of this presentation is and the work that we are doing at MMA. Monica in the morning shared the quantum of work that we've done around communities, research, creating training skill sets, advocacy around it, governance and so on and so forth. And what we built from that is a methodology which we believe is an opportunity to drive value out of AI. AI is all about learning, it's all about the machines, it's all about the data that is available for us to exploit. And if we were to do that, we've done that with a certain methodology, and what I'm going to share with you are a few case studies of examples of how it has actually yielded results. We've been talking about the potential of AI, we've been talking about the opportunity of AI since morning. Amit showed a very good case study of the HR interview being done in a Volvo car and so on and so forth. Those are all real scenarios. And when we are talking about real scenarios, they are value adds that are being created. And I think what we are trying to showcase here in the next 10-15 minutes is how at a very specific level, not the whole AI as what AI is, because AI means a lot to many people, but in very specific term on a campaign, on an advertising campaign, what can AI do and how useful if utilized well with generative and predictive AI that can yield results. And this is something that I am sharing with you based on the methodology which is proprietary to MMA with a very specific ask. And the ask is, how many of you in the room would like to adopt that and try it as an experiment in your organization? After the session, if you have interest, please do reach out to us. We'll be more than happy based on the results that I will share with you. I promise you it is compelling enough for you to actually raise your hand and say, let's try it and let's see what it can do for my business. So with that, let's go back to very basic. We've all gone to school. We all know 2 plus 2 is 4 and 4 plus 4 is 8. This is A/B testing. We all know how A/B testing works. Anybody who doesn't know A/B testing formula? Okay. So if campaign A versus campaign B is run separately, campaign B gets 6% result. Obviously, there's an incremental increase of 20% if that campaign was to be done. All in agreement? Simple. Now if we were to do that in a fragmented way, divide it into two populations, male journal population into male and female, run the same campaign for males versus females, and we see the results. Females have 6% on creative A and males have 8% yield on creative B. We automatically know what that means. The campaign A for females should be run and creative B should be run for males. It will yield a 40% improvement. All in sync till here. Very simple. It's 2 plus 2 maths. But now this is where AI starts to come. We've been all doing this. Programmatic, DCO, anything that you talk about from a technology perspective, we've been doing it. But it's not done at scale. It is not possible to do at scale. One of the questions Sukleen and Papa CJ asked is, what can AI not do? It cannot shake hands. If he had asked me that, I would have gotten up and shook his hand. AI can't do that. But this is what AI can do. It can help you optimize. Now, in this particular example, if there were 72 creatives and you had or permutations of those creatives done, and audience variations done in time of the day, day of the week, device, etc., you would see an audience variation of 1.8 million. It's all maths, right? It's simple maths. But if those creatives were to be optimized from a real-time perspective on each one of those metrics, you now have an opportunity of 133 million opportunities to specify which creative, what time, what period, to which population, which cohort, and what segmentation. What that does is, we saw 20% yield between creative A and B, we saw 40% yield between creative A and B in males and females. So obviously it starts to gradually incremental yield, right? But here, if that is done at scale, if that is continuously done between new creatives with generative AI and predictive AI, you can see the incremental yield done over 20 such variations of creatives. We are only talking about 20 such creatives. 20 variations and in 20 cohorts can yield results which are far greater than what humans can actually do. And this is all what we've learned since morning. What's the opportunity that AI brings? But don't get the idea that it's easy. It's very costly when you start doing AI, because there's an investment of infrastructure and time and learning. It only helps when that is done regularly and at scale, and the cost benefit starts to trickle in and the performance starts to happen. This is an example from DCO. If any one of you have been doing DCO, this is how the optimization happens. But it gets interesting when generative AI starts to play a role. Then the equations change. The cost becomes marginal and the yield becomes exponential. And that is what I'm going to share with you in the next few slides of 5 use cases or 4 use cases, how we've seen this happening with the methodology that we've built and the technology tech stack that we've deployed on existing campaigns. These are not path-breaking new campaigns. These are existing campaigns that marketeers had planned, they wanted to run them, and we just applied the AI stack on top of that. So what you will see is it yields at least 2 to 3 times more lift in your campaigns, a higher ROI, and reduces the cost. This is what the summary of the next few slides is. In the cases of Kroger is a online grocery store in US. General Motors, I'm sure you all know, builds cars. Monday.com, ADT is a service provider for security, and Shell is petroleum. Across all of them, and I'll share why the results are different. Across all of them, on an existing campaign, on an existing budget, on the existing publisher network, these are the kind of results of ROI that we've seen. So let me share with you the first one. In the first campaign, the KPI was web visits. They had launched a new website where they wanted to do delivery for home. And the digital KPI was to drive traffic. And these case studies were done on open web. So that's a clarification I want to provide. None of these case studies are done on walled gardens. They are all done on open web because the data available is far more important for us to measure. There were 3 creatives that were originally designed. Only 3. With 3 key messages and 3 headlines. That was the original campaign that Kroger had designed. We helped them to take those creatives and with generative AI's help, build 72 versions of those creatives with different backgrounds, different images, but the same 3 messages and 3 headlines. And what we saw was there was a 42% additional click-through. And this was done in a few states in US where the AI stack was enabled, and in certain states where this campaign was running without the AI stack. 42% more click-through, and the digital KPI that was available, what we were measuring, was the e-commerce pages visit. It was 259% more than where the AI stack was not added. It also yielded 17% more transactions, 16% more revenue, and I'm sure there was a lot more profit than they would have been. The optimization of the display ad creative delivered a large performance based on the fundamental that I shared with you, incremental return of every time you are personalizing that creative to be sent to the right person at the right time. It's all very simple. We've done this for years. Contextual marketing, right time, right ad. But AI can optimize it because it's doing it in real time. Not programmatic, DCO, humans, none of that enables that. The second case study I wanted to share with you was on ADT. They wanted to generate leads. So they had to submit forms. We saw it was a display ad. Again, 3 templates, 3 images, 3 headlines, 81 various options were created, and they were served depending on the cohorts. And the cohorts are all mentioned here, time of the day, etc., and web form submissions. And with those 81 distinct variations, we were able to generate 133% yield. In this particular case, this was done on video. So display, web form, this is video. And what I am trying to also help establish is, it's not only on one format, ad format. It can be done across. In this particular case, General Motors had launched a new Jeep, which only came in 2 variants, red and blue color. So there were limited variants that we could generate. We only generated 15 creatives compared to the original 3 that they had, not 72 as the case was with Kroger, or 81 as was the case with ADT. But even with 15 creatives, 12 additional creatives, we saw an yield of 68% for visits. The KPI was to measure the visits and transactions. And in Monday.com, it was all about audio. This was radio FM ads running across 44 states in US. And the myth was that female voice delivers better traction than male voice. But what we realized is, it is only at a certain time of the day that the female voice delivered better results, and only in certain states. But across the spectrum, it was the male voice that dominated the transactions and the return. And we saw an uptake of about 188% uplift in all these ads. So, sorry. So the upside is big. Again, KPIs, web page, form, web page visits, app installs. Across all of that, you will see, done on open web, there is a significant increase in ROI. Now, this is very important. These are existing campaigns with existing media planning, existing publisher networks, existing ad tech stack, ad servers. Nothing was changed. No new money was added to it. And this is the optimization and the result for that. Now, if you were to take a pause and think about it, if this has been done for these brands, it can be done for any brand. But what is important is to ensure that you are able to add the variant, which is the stack, which is the AI stack, and optimize it for the learnings. So how do we leverage this property? We've done the methodology. We've shortlisted a couple of technology partners, one of them being Claritas. This is done on omni-channel using predictive AI decision making, and it does not require any change in existing media stack. Setup is low lift because there is nothing changing. It's only being added on top of it, and MMA and its partners would help do that for you guys. This is how the structure looks like. You all who work on campaigns understand that. It is the ad server being called, and it's the unsupervised learning that takes into account all of the dynamic operations and personalization, and rendering and choosing which creative to be changed in real time to be served, depending on the consumer behavior or the consumer device or the time of the day, etc. And the impression is served but it doesn't happen automatically on first ad being served. AI by definition is machine. It needs to learn. So what we've realized is in a campaign worth 40 million impressions across all these four case studies that I've shared with you, we realized it is the first 3 to 4 million impressions that the AI learns how to serve the next ad. And then the optimization kicks in. It doesn't happen at the first ad. And if you were to look at AI and DCO at 2 blocks, and there's been a lot of discussion about DCO can do the same thing. It is not true, because the rule-driven based approach does not account for AI. And it's autonomous. It has to be fully autonomous and enabled to be served in those specific cohorts. So the data models that we spoke of, segments, device types, day of week, etc., the variables that can be generated by AI by combining different variables at any point in time with different creatives can lead to about 1200 such variables within these 7 cohorts. Now that's something that we cannot plan for. We cannot humanly enable that and write those codes for each other on the campaign stack. So if we were to do that, what our learning is that 10% controlled environment needs to learn, and then the optimization kicks in. As I said, out of 40 million impressions, the first 4 million impressions is what it takes to learn. It optimizes, it's in a controlled delivery mechanism, and then the optimization kicks in, and it helps set up the process for the future. It's pretty easy to do. Takes only about 30 days to set up this entire process. Once it's set up, you can just copy paste across campaigns. It doesn't need time. It's the first time. The investment is the first time investment. And this is how the stack is. It's user friendly. The dashboard allows you. But what it does is it helps match the right content version per impression. And these are the various cohorts that you can see, which has been designed automatically in real time for different variations in the General Motor ads, and which ad was being served, which was getting a better response, therefore being served again to a different cohort to get the results, to learn from it, and then serve it back again with a different device type or a different time. So maths is simple. 75 variations on an average, if you were to take and build across 40 million impressions, you would on an average get 100% or more yield or ROI effectively from your campaign. And this does not require any PII. Also, privacy is a huge concern as we go, not so much in US and Europe, but in Asia it is, continues to be. It's exploited on a daily basis. But in this particular case, one of the things from a marketing standpoint you can be aware of is there's no need for any PII data, and all the data that the first party data or third party data that is acquired from the ad serving stack continues to be done. And it's simple because the tags are placed on the existing network. These slides will all be available. I'm not going to go through the models behind each one of them, but the ad serving technology will be layered with these with these tags, which will help drive the variations of the AI models that are being built through this. So, simple setup process. If you have an existing marketing plan, you think it's available that can be used with a 40 million impression on the open internet with a digital KPI, you can enable optimization and personalization using AI. Doesn't have to be MMA stack, doesn't have to be the partner that we have, but the point is if you have an existing partner who can enable this, it is something that you should definitely explore. The methodology is something that MMA is built. We can definitely share it with you. If you are members, you have access to it. It's on the website. And the consult design template, the creative template, is also garnered with the generative AI input into it. And the tech stack is very consumer friendly, and I'll share that with you. This is the real-time data campaign metric that generates what ad is serving when and how better it is doing compared to the previous ad or the previous impression of that ad. Not just the previous ad, the previous impression, if it was served to me versus being served to Sukleen versus being served to Vishal, why is it generating a different response? That can be stacked up. So it helps you get better results. The frequency cap can be measured. It's a best practice that checklist can be allocated to. And I think it's larger than the fact that AI can contribute. It's about learning how to use it. And I think this is a very small but very critical aspect of adding to that learning cycle that you guys will all go through for your marketing campaigns, for your marketing needs. And everybody does advertising and marketing. It's in our blood. We do it on a daily basis. So pick one of your campaigns, use that to launch an AI experiment. I can assure you, by doing that, you will be able to expand your reach, not from a consumer reach perspective, but from your reach from the possibility of being able to leverage a lot of the applications of AI and then help automate this process to transform your business. So that's all that I have. If you do need to reach out to us, if you think this is compelling, you guys would like to understand more, please do connect with us and we can help kickstart that journey for you to help you get to the next stage using AI. Thank you so much. And this is the code that you can scan to submit your request. Thank you so much.